In this video, I want to talk you through why changing your environment and adapting it for success can guarantee the outcomes that you desire. Dan Paynter says it best.
You are who you hang around with. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
What he means by this is that if you hang around with 4 friends who are lazy, unambitious, not driven, just fantasize really about the future that they're going to have, the likelihood that you will become the 5th is almost inevitable. The same can be exactly said in reverse. If you hang around with incredibly smart, successful, motivated people, the likelihood that you will then become the 5th is almost guaranteed. So why is that? A lot of the time it's down to a complete reshift in your frame of thinking and what it actually takes to become successful or to actually get that desired outcome. Alex Hormozi mentioned speaking with a business owner who was putting out 5 ads per month and was wondering why they weren't scaling their business. Alex sat down with them and ran through exactly what they were doing day in, day out and said, how many ads are you actually making? The person obviously replying back with 5 per month. Alex kind of gave them that complete reshift in what it actually takes to become successful by saying that they're churning out 50 ads per day and then creating multiple, if not hundreds, thousands of different variations, really showing that what actually it takes to become successful is releasing multiple different ads, split testing them until you find that one superstar. He then says to the guy, you'll never find that one superstar if you're only pushing out 5 ads per month. Many people, including myself, get stuck in their ways of why they aren't growing as fast as they want, why they aren't getting the results that they want to get to. And a lot of the time, it just simply boils down to you aren't working as hard as you could be. The people that you see, the people that are super successful in your line of field or whatever it is that you're trying to get success with, are probably not just working twice as hard as you, they're probably working 10 times as hard as you. So you don't ever really see what happens on the back end, you only ever see this glamorized success. So how do we actually go about improving our success in the environment that we're in? Firstly, we need to be analytical. We need to start looking at the times where we've had phenomenal success, phenomenal productivity, we've made the most money, we've done the most amount of sales calls, whatever it is that you're trying to get success at. When have you ever had kind of those big flurries of motivation, those big flurries of success within that particular thing, and then analyze that? What were you doing at the time? What were you doing earlier that day? What did you eat in? What were you wearing? Where were you located? Who was around you? Was it friends? Were you on your own? Were you in the office? Were you at a cafe? Were you outside on a walk? What is it that you were doing at that particular moment in time? And then kind of work back from there. To replicate those same results, we want to try and control the environment. Whether this is purely down to work, business, the gym, we need to try and recreate those exact same steps to get your body and your mind thinking in the exact same way that it was on that specific day. The whole idea around this is truly just trying to match that unrivaled productivity that you've had and get yourself working at that same level or as close to that level as you can every single day. There is a study that's been published you can read online called the coffee shop effect, showing by how changing your location, you can see a massive boost in your productivity. One of the reasons behind it is that your brain is actually triggered by novelty and allows you to see those tasks in a new light. And then once those tasks are completed, you'll have a massive dump of dopamine as you normally would. But with this, you can actually start training your brain a little bit. So when you have these massive dumps of dopamine, you're in a specific location doing a specific task so that your brain then knows if you want to get this massive dump of dopamine, you've got to carry out this specific task in this specific location, wearing this specific outfit, drinking this specific coffee. We need to try and train our brain to get and actually desire that same amount of dopamine and then recreate that scenario. There's another take on this chase for success through environment is Alex Hormozi's version of you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Where Alex mentions that you most definitely can make a horse drink if you dehydrate the horse, you salt its tongue, you leave it out in the burning sun for hours on end. A more realistic example of this would be something like locking yourself in a room for 2 hours with nothing but the task that you need to do. Close the windows, shut the blinds, shut the curtains, take out all distractions from that one room, and you can't do a single thing other than that one specific task for 2 hours. Now, in that 2 hour period, you could do nothing, you could sit there, or you can do that task. You can't do anything else. So it's either you sit there for 2 hours in complete boredom, or you end up finding yourself sat there maybe half an hour in thinking, well, there's nothing else I can do right now but complete this task. A lot of people could call that eating the frog, but Alex's version here is purely around just doing a task as effectively as possible, no matter what. He mentions how a famous comedian actually did this every single day, Jerry Seinfeld, and he sat there in a room 2 hours per day and all he could do was write jokes. That's all he could do. He couldn't do anything else. And he found himself often writing jokes just for the sake of writing jokes because that's what he needed to do and that's what he actually wanted himself to do. But a lot of the time, with all the distractions of the modern day world, he wasn't able to do that. So locking himself in for 2 hours every single day, and there was nothing he could do but write jokes. Even if he sat there for 2 hours, that's fine. He sat there for 2 hours, that's it. But if you wrote jokes, then that's kind of what he was really after. By using this approach and limiting yourself of all of the distractions, you actually allow yourself to get into your flow state. And your flow state is essentially where everything aligns, you're completely focused on one task, you've not got all these distractions fizzing off behind you, and you actually find yourself really getting work done and actually doing meaningful work. A way you can actually start limiting the distractions you have in life is treat yourself as if you would your phone. Every time you go on your phone or every time you charge your phone, you start the day off with 100%. Every app that you open, text that you send, video that you watch, is going to take away 5%, 2% of that 100% battery. At the end of the day, you're going to end up with zero. Treat yourself in that similar way. Every time you open your phone, you watch a video, it might take 5% of your day away. Every time you reply to multiple texts, emails, it might take another 5-10% away. You've got food, you want to go to the gym, you've got your work. What you want to try and do is keep as much of that battery percentage as you possibly can. You want it to last you throughout the entire day. When it does come to work, you want to be focusing 30, 40, 50% of that battery on there. You don't want to be depleting it with managing this, looking at this video, texting back to this person. Try and treat yourself as that phone battery and keep that battery percentage as high as possible, just so that you can really focus on that amount of work that you've got to do. By doing this, you can actually look at what's zapping out the energy of your day. You can even write this down. Have a look at how much time you're spending on your phone each day, on what particular apps doing what particular activity, what particular things you're doing throughout the day. Jot them all down and see how much time you're actually spending on unmeaningful tasks, and try and remove them as much as possible. Once you've then boiled down of how much time you're actually spending on unnecessaries, work out how much time you're actually spending on the tasks that you want to do. If it's for me, in a sales role, we'll call it business development. You're going to block out a specific time for that business development and do absolutely nothing else. If anybody tries to put time in that specific time that you've blocked out, think to yourself, in that business development, I could book 10 meetings. Those meetings could make me £1,000, for example. If somebody puts some time in and interrupts your flow state, is it worth £1,000? If it is, allow the meeting. If it's not, disallow the meeting, say no, move on and carry on with what it is you're trying to do in that flow state. It could be creating content. It could be producing a piece of work that you've got time limits on. If you're in university, it could be writing down assignments. Whatever it is, block that time out and do not let anybody else put time in on that specific day. So now we know about the environment, we know about what to have and what not to have around you when you're trying to do work. So how do we actually go and set ourselves up in that environment for pure success? Know what type of work you want to do. Don't juggle multiple workloads all at the same time, because you're never going to achieve that flow state that you're after. You need to block out the time for the deeper, non-urgent tasks that are actually going to move the needle. For me, I could have something go catastrophically wrong. I could have somebody pull out of a role. I need to not make sure that that interrupts my BD time, my pure flow time, because at the end of the day, this is what's going to bring in future business and actually move the needle forward. Yes, something else urgent might come along, great, but what you want to try and do is make sure that it does not interrupt the time that you've set aside to do that one specific task. Next, replicate the conditions where you've had unfathomable productivity or success. If I've just had an incredible day of sales calls, what I want to try and do is be analytical about that. Why did I do that? Who was around me? What environment were I in? Who was I calling? What company was I calling into? Replicate this as much as possible to really try and reenact exactly what happened throughout that day to achieve or replicate those same results. You then want to try and set your environment up so that it's easy to do the right things and hard to do the wrong things. Whether that's you get massively distracted on your phone, you've worked out exactly what percentage is taking up your time each day, and what you do is you find out you're massively on YouTube, you're massively on Instagram, you're massively on social media. Turn your phone off, take a battery out if you possibly can, set it aside in another room, so for you to actually go and do the wrong thing, which is sit and play on your phone, it's ridiculously hard for you to go and do that. You'd have to go into another room, turn your phone on, sit down in that room to then go and look at one 30-minute video on YouTube or one quick 30-minute scroll through Instagram. The likelihood of you doing that is pretty slim. The same can be said for actually doing the right things. Make it so easy for you to do that. If you've got a particular phone that you're doing sales calls off, have no apps on there. Have nothing on there. Purely, all you can do is text and call off of that, and just have work numbers on there, just so that you can't get distracted. Make sure that when you are doing work, you've got your laptop right in front of you. You've got everything that you need right there in front of you to make it super, super easy. If it's going to the gym and that's kind of the desired outcome that you're after, go to the closest gym to your house. Make it so easy for you to do that. Don't go to the furthest gym just because it's the nicest gym and it's 40 minutes away. Go to what gym is closest to your house, because the likelihood that you're going to go there is incredibly higher, even though this other gym might be 10% nicer. By implementing every single one of those things, of limiting those distractions, making it so easy to do the right thing, and actually allowing time to do those deeper, non-urgent tasks, then just watch how shocked people are with the success that you're having and how quickly you're able to move that needle forward. So thank you for watching. I hope the video has been super insightful. Let me know what it is that you do to set your environment up for success.